has done so well in the seniors division, is now proving himself as a Masters player.
Absolutely. Here are those achievements for both players. Of course, Regan Retzloff, as we mentioned, fresh out of the seniors division into Masters here and already proving to be such an incredibly skillful player, even in the Masters division, that Orlando Regional, where we just recently saw Regan in top 8. But look at all the rest of those accomplishments too. I mean, NAIC finalists, all seniors division, but still proving to be an incredible player.
And for Rahul, Reddy, this game would mean so much. We see those accomplishments there. Multiple top 8s, multiple top 4s at regional championships and your international championships as well, but has not made it to that finals level in quite some time. I know this would mean so much for him to play for that champion trophy. Both of these players want it so, so badly. And the matchup that we'll be having as well. Regan Retzloff, of course, on that Lugia V-Star that we've seen so much of throughout the weekend. We got to feature Rahul a little earlier on today. He is, of course, on that Reggie Gigas deck.
Yeah, we've gotten to cast both Lugia and Reggie today, Chip, but I am so excited because, as you said, so much is on the line for both of these players. This is essentially the kitchen table here for both these players. They're on the same team. They've walked through these matchups, I'm sure, hundreds of times together. Of course, like you said, so much on the line for Rahul there, but also for Regan, already an NAIC champion in the past divisions, but wants to make a name for himself right now here in OCIC, making it to the finals here potentially. So this is pretty much as exciting as it gets, Chip.
Yeah, I think we're actually waiting on a little bit of a ruling from one of our judges, so I'm not sure. There must have been an issue before this match even gets started. There are a lot of things that go down in a game of Pokemon. I hate to see something kick off this way, but everything's got to be up to code, up to standard. So we're getting our head judge up to the stage and are going to get that all sorted out. And we're going to get into this top 4 match before we know it. I can't wait to see. The suspense keeps on building. Shelby, you got any bold predictions here? Lugia versus Reggie's, Regan versus Rahul. An impossible choice to make.
I know, that really, really is. That's an incredibly impossible choice, but
based on the matchup, maybe?
Yeah, based on the matchup, I think obviously, depending on Regan's list, I mean, we did see him earlier playing, but if we do see those techs for the Reggie matchup, then I think this is pretty bread and butter for both players. I think they both know exactly how to navigate this. So I think it's really going to come down to the draws as well for both players in the initial setup. Regan looking straight at the camera
Staring into our souls.
So if I had to bet here, I would probably say Reggie, but I really am truly rooting also for Regan because I just love it, Chip, when our younger players get to show up, especially at the first ever Masters season Regan is getting to compete in. Can you imagine getting to the finals of OCIC? I mean, even to have gotten as far as Regan has right now is absolutely incredible here, but I would love to see Regan pull this out for sure.
Yeah, anytime you age up in the Pokemon TCG, of course, we have the 3 divisions, the Juniors division, the Seniors division, and the Masters division. Anytime you age up, it's a bit of an adjustment that you have to make, and that was something Regan kind of struggled with at the start of the season. He had some day 2 finishes, but had not quite gotten into that top 8 yet. He finally broke through at Orlando, which was just 2 weekends ago, and that was the largest regional championship of all time. And now on an even bigger stage, with even more on the line, a bit smaller of an event, but a more concentrated field, a room full of the best players in the world. Regan has cemented himself as one of the best as well, getting all the way here to top 4.
I know, and if you think about it, this is the way you're starting your Masters season. I mean, what else is to come, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, we see so much potential from our younger players here. And I mean, that just really goes to show, I mean, they've been playing so many of them since they were just little kids, and to see them grow alongside this game is just incredible to watch. And now they're able to make history on our stages because of our incredible streams as well. They get to give us all a show and have that forever that you can rewind and watch it and continue improving from there. So it's just great. This is a really wholesome match that we're about to jump into.
Yeah, absolutely. I almost feel like I've watched Regan grow up a little bit, you know, over the last few years. I mean, I remember watching that 2017 NAIC win when he was just a junior, and, you know, now he finds himself here trying to win an IC as a master. I'm sure it's surreal for not only him, his family, his friends, his testing group as well. Usually when it's a testing group preparing for an event, you just kind of hope that someone in the group can make a push to top 8, top 4, and maybe have a chance at winning the tournament in the finals. It's not often that you see 2 players from that same testing group making it all the way to top 4.
Competing against each other as well. At least in this scenario, Chip, we know that whichever player wins here, they're both going to be so happy for each other.
Yes, absolutely. The camaraderie is unbelievable. I know the rest of the group is out there in the audience watching.
Absolutely.
The friends are here, the families are here, and we're getting underway. Finally, it looks like Rahul is going first and has a pretty good start with that Retzloff and a Speed Lightning energy.
All right, let's jump into this match, everyone. We have our top 4 match here to determine who will be our second finalist here. I am so excited, and here we go down to the player field here, just as Chip said, starting off with Rahul's turn here, going straight into the deck with that quick ball, discarding a gift energy. We're going to be seeing a lot more energies hit that discard pile, which is exactly where you want to be as the Reggie player. Of course, we also did see that Speed Lightning energy attached to draw a couple more cards here in the initial turn here for Rahul as well.
Yeah, we're going to look at those prize cards real quick. Over on Regan's end, nothing too bad. A couple of energy. That Radiant Charizard could come up. And over on Rahul's side, yeah, really nothing you can complain about at all. A research is not always the best. You know, we saw Rahul's game earlier. He was struggling to find some supporter cards, so hopefully for him that won't be too big of an issue.
Absolutely. All right, so we're just going to see some initial setup there from Rahul and just a pass back over to Regan here. Starting off in the active here with that Oranguru. What is this hand looking like, though? Starting off with that Ultra Ball, which is nice. Already getting it to discard that Archeops there and that Raikou.
Yeah, Raikou's not a great attacker in this matchup, so I think you're okay losing it. It can one-hit KO the Terra Spark Regieleki, but it's not really helping you out with its spread damage. It only deals 120 damage to a benched Pokemon, and yeah, it looks like we have had a bit of a prize penalty issued already at the start. We'll get exact word of what happened, but it does appear like Regan will have to take 2 less prize cards to win this game, and when your opponent is playing all single prize Pokemon, that is a huge advantage.
Absolutely. That is for sure true. We've seen this a couple times this weekend. Gameplay errors do happen here, and that is going to be a penalty for this game 1 for Regan. So let's see if he can still pull things out here.
Yeah, so it seems like there was a double prize loss given to Rahul, for drawing his mulligan before setting his prize cards out. So
got it.
A pretty important sequencing thing there. You do have to set out those prize cards and then take your mulligan card. And it's a pretty harsh penalty, but at this spot with so much on the line, hey, those are the rules. That's what we have to abide by.
Yeah, but again, as we saw this earlier, still when you're sitting in this situation, as you pointed out, 2 Chip going against a 1 prize deck, that is 2 prize cards less you got to take. So Regan's sitting comfortably as far as now, especially now getting that Lugia V down here, attaching the powerful colorless energy as well to it. So pretty great established turn here for Regan. And I think there's at least 1 Archeops there in the discard, and we're back over to Rahul. So Trekking Shoes going to discard that Regieleki here into, was that a Scoop Up Net?
No, it was a Professor's Research.
Oh, there we go.
That is something Rahul is going to be very happy to have added to the hand, as he did not have a supporter previously. And we see a tech card that has not really been too popular in the Reggie deck, that Energy Lotto, allowing you to look at the top 7 cards of your deck and place an energy card you find there into your hand. And in this spot, it's going to work out excellently as Rahul can combine it with a quick ball to discard an Aurora energy. That is too good.
Yeah, when you get that easy fodder, that always feels very nice. Of course, we're going to be seeing a lot of Pokemon being sought out of this deck here, lining up all the Reggie. We've seen this time and time again with this deck. You need all 6 to be able to enact that Ancient Wisdom off of the Regigigas. So just establishing the board here and doing it pretty well so far on Rahul's side.
Does have that research, will be able to ditch the hand. Has a scoop up net, but really no reason to play it on anything, so we're going to draw this hand up. He is looking for that Regice. That is the one Reggie that he is missing, and I don't think he was able to draw it off of these 7 cards. Did find the Regirock, but that's not going to be too strong, but did find the path to the peak.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that is going to slow Regan down and force him to find the Pumpkaboo in order to get rid of it to use his V-Star power.
Yep, couldn't find the blue dude, but path to the peak is now in play here. So manual attach here to that Regieleki, just to retreat it into a Regirock into a pass as well. So now we're over here on Regan's side, and that path to the peak is pretty crucial here because that's going to need to be bumped out of the way in order to use any abilities on V Pokemon, which of course that Lugia V-Star has that Summoning Star ability, that V-Star power, which draws the Archeops out of the discard pile. Such an important component of the Lugia deck, of course. They go hand in hand, but I do see that Professor's Research in the hands for Regan, so we're going to be seeing most likely a lot of cards here this turn.
Regan was debating discarding a Lugia V-Star, and he's going to do that with the Quick Ball, wanting to thin an extra card out, wanting to guarantee that Pumpkaboo. And I think he can use the Primate Wisdom from Oranguru to put the Ultra Ball on top of the deck that's in his hand, so it'll still guarantee off of his research he can find his other Lugia V-Star. He does just play 2 copies. A little risky, a little sketchy to discard a Lugia V-Star, but it's actually going to work out pretty nicely for Regan here.
Yeah, you don't see that too often, that is for sure. But here we go. Getting that Pumpkaboo here. That Pumpkin Pit ability is going to be able to bump that path to the peak real easy here on Regan's side of the field. And such a cutie, too, that little Pumpkaboo.
And we will indeed see Primate Wisdom prep that Ultra Ball on top. Does find the Lost Vacuum. I wonder, actually, yeah, we're going to see Regan Lost Zone that Pumpkaboo. Rahul's going to be sitting there thinking, I wonder what your 1 card was from Oranguru.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinning the deck even more. Lost Zone of the Pumpkaboo, so Pumpkaboo didn't even have to be used there. Fresh 7 cards here off of that Professor's Research into that Evolution Incense.
And this is going to allow Regan to now get that second Archeops down, which is what he was missing previous to this.
Absolutely. Drawing 7 cards, always very nice in this match for sure. So Archeops going to be hitting the discard if there is some way to discard it, which I believe there is in the hand.
Yeah, prep that Ultra Ball on top with the Oranguru, and even has a Quick Ball as well, so we can see a few more cards even thinned out if he wants, but for now it will be Lugia V-Star being grabbed, and let's flip that V-Star marker. Summoning Star, come on out, Archeops.
Here we go, Archeops joined in the party here. Lugia V-Star all ready to go, some primal turbos lined up here for Regan, and things are just going swimmingly. Just like that Luminion V. Quick Ball away the Stoutland V here. So Stoutland hitting that discard pile to search out another Pokemon.
Yeah, Stoutland is a card that can come up in this matchup. With all 4 powerful colorless energy, Double Dip Fangs can deal 120 damage, which is enough to knock out the Terra Spark Regieleki. But in this instance, Regan knows it's not going to be useful, as he's already had to put a powerful colorless energy onto his Lugia V-Star.
Absolutely. All right, so that Manaphy is going to come down onto the field, though. So taking up another bench spot here for Regan. Oh, are we seeing the powerfuls?
I think we are. We're seeing the WAP down. Maybe 1 game later than Kyle Sablehouse wanted to see it.
Exactly.
But Oranguru's getting in there with 3 powerful colorless energies. This will deal exactly 130 damage.
Yep, that is one of my favorite move names ever, that WAP down. You love it when we get to see it, those powerful, colorful energies, colorless energies, powering up that Oranguru. And that is going to be a 1-prize Pokemon, taking a knock on a 1-prize Pokemon.
Exactly what Regan wants to do. It's not too often we see the Oranguru get in there, but yeah, in this situation it works out excellently, as it will just be a single prize attacker, and there's really no better use for your powerful colorless energies. They can be nice on Archeops later in the game, so that is something we'll have to keep in mind. Speedwing will not be able to knock out those 130 hit point Reggies later on, but if Regan can stream together some other attackers, he may be okay.
Absolutely, and we have to remember too, Regan taking a prize card there, but 3 left only to take because of that penalty. Back over onto Rahul's side, that Regirock was replaced pretty early there. It was promoted because there was just an extra one in hand as well, so no big loss if it was knocked out. And here we go, we got that Regice.
Regice is joining the party now with plenty of energy cards in the discard pile. Rahul will be able to activate Ancient Wisdom, use that ability, bring these energy cards back, and it seems like we're going to see an Ordinary Rod play as well.
Yeah, the Pokemon being drawn out there first, making sure they're in the discard pile first, and shuffling them back into the deck here off of that Ordinary Rod.
So for Rahul, we got to think about how this map works out for him. With Regan only needing to take 3 prize cards, it makes it very, very difficult. Rahul takes 1 prize here on a Rangaroo. Yeah. Regan can respond, maybe take a knockout. I think Rahul here has to hope that Regan's only way to take this knockout is with Lugia V-Star. Then Rahul can promote the Regieleki, take a knockout on the Lugia V-Star, and then Rahul can maybe use his 130 HP Regis to try to withstand hits. This is Rahul, I think, sticking around because he knows those powerful energies are gone.
Yeah, most definitely. Plus, we have lots of time on our hands, too.
Plenty of it.
Yeah, in these top matches, top cut matches. So definitely lots of time still for both of these players. Might as well play things through. All right, so we are back over onto Regan's side of the field here. Of course, Rahul having taken that knockout there on the Oranguru. So down a prize card here. Primal Turbo being popped off real early here off of that Archeops that's in the active position. And we're just going to see the same sort of story here that we've talked about, Chip. Making sure that you're attacking with those 1 prize Pokemon to even up the prize. I mean, really just safety, you know?
Sure.
Have some safety in these matches. 1 prize for 1 prize is always nice to see.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Regan has a boss's orders in this hand. That would make the 3 energy on the Archeops make a lot of sense. Go for the boss.
Yeah.
And Rahul already kind of recognizing, yeah, that is most likely what my opponent has, bringing up the Regieleki before Regan's even played the card.
Oh my goodness, there you go. Boss's orders, exactly how you called it there, Chip. Another prize card down for Regan here, and Rahul just has to respond in the best way possible, but I don't even know what is in the hand here for Rahul.
It looks like a quick ball, capture energy, and a research, so has ways to get that Regieleki back. Should be a-okay there. And I'm kind of curious with this promotion of the Registeel, what Rahul is thinking here, as Heavy Slam can, you know, be okay. It can theoretically get a knockout on this Archeops with just the 1 retreat, but it's just not generally what you expect to see be an attacker in this Regi deck.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's come into play a couple of niche times in our Regi matches, but you are definitely correct there, Chip. We don't get to see it too often there. There are a lot of other more prized Regi in this deck, that's for sure. But here we go, shuffling up the deck here on Rahul's side of things. And let's see what else is going to be played from the hand here.
Yeah, he does have a Marnie, and I think with making this play, sending up this Registeel, Rahul must have his other 2 Aurora Energy in his discard pile. And I think Rahul's kind of doing some math here, right? He knows Regan only needs to take 2 more prizes to win. Rahul needs to take 5. So his best path to victory is going to be 3 knockouts. Take out a 2-prizer, take out a 2-prizer, take out a 1-prizer. So I think he's just doing some math to see if this is even a possible line for him to take. Can he take 3 knockouts before Regan's able to find 2? And I think it is technically possible, thanks to Regan being down those powerful energies like we mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. They were applied to the Oranguru, and now they are gone, wiped off the board there. So Rahul going to be taking that knockout there on the Archeops with that Registeel, and we're back over to Regan's side of the board here. 2 prize cards left to take. Lugia V-Star being promoted into the active position here, and we're going back into the deck with that Primal Turbo.
And with Regan loading up some energy cards onto this Lugia V, it's starting to seem a bit less likely. Now that Arrow Dive can deal 130 damage, so Rahul's going to have to be attacking with Regigigas, and if Rahul's attacking with Regigigas, he's not taking 2 prizes most likely. Well, I guess that's not true. So Rahul could take a knockout with the Regigigas on a 2-prizer if he finds Serena or Boss on the Lumineon and a Choice Belt. That would be the way that he could try to extend this game just a bit. Is going to draw a few off the gift energy. One of the cards found was the Choice Belt. Yeah, but Rahul doesn't think he can do it.
Just gonna scoop it up, absolutely. So that is gonna be our game 1 between these players. Of course, we started that game off with a penalty, unfortunately for Rahul, but maybe it just got a little too casual there between these players. Chip, things were just slightly out of order there on Rahul's side. It happens, but hopefully we will have a nice, clean game 2 here for both of our players.
Yeah, you hate to see it for sure. I mean, I think Rahul had set up pretty well that game if that two-prize penalty wasn't in play. I think obviously Regan would have played a little bit different, maybe been more conservative with those energy cards.
Yeah,
if he knew that that game was going to be, you know, 6 full prize cards. And that just shows how some of the best players can adapt to the situations that are presented before them, right?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So we are going to get into this game too. Chip, after seeing our game 1, what do you think about the odds here? Has anything really changed for you, or is it just the same sort of scenario you're thinking before this game started?
I mean, once again, the matchup does feel favored for Rahul.
Yep.
Regan does not play Dunsparce. That is normally a big card for this matchup. But maybe Regan's got a little bit of plot armor to go along with him. I mean, hey, he finds himself only having to take 4 prizes in game number 1. He comes back after losing game 1 against Pedro Eugenio Torres, wins 2 more games in order to get to this point. So, hey, anything is possible without a doubt. A couple of speed lightnings prize for Rahul. Past the peak as well. A little awkward over on his side. And Regan prizing a Lugia V-Star could be relevant as well.
Yep, definitely could be relevant, but we will see how this plays out. We are starting our match here on Rahul's side, so let's get into this game 2 of our Masters top 4 here. Rahul kicking it off there with the Regirock, Aurora Energy discarding the Twin Energy, but that's going to be it for the turn, passing it over to Regan now.
Yeah, not the strongest turn. Rahul is holding on to the Capture Energy, so can bring down another Reggie next turn if he so chooses, and also does have a Research in hand, so at least has a supporter to follow up. But Regan here on his end will be picking up this turn with a pretty strong hand. He does have a way to get the Archeops, but I don't know. I think he had the Aurora Energy is going to be his only way to get it into the discard pile here. I think his only supporter is the Marnie as well.
Yeah, I think that's also what I saw there, Chip. Of course, looking through the deck here, making sure to identify those prize cards. As always, a good technique that we always see from these top players. And that Archeops is being drawn out of the deck there on that Evolution Incense. Easy choice. I mean, this is pretty much like the usual Lugia first turn that we see.
Same old, right?
It's gone haywire a couple of times here in some of our matchups, but luckily for Regan, it's going pretty naturally here. Ooh, we're going to see the Research.
Yeah, had that hiding in the back of the hand, a pretty nice spot. You don't really want to be Marnieing your opponent when all they did was attach pass, so seems like a pretty good opportunity to get some more cards into the discard pile with the Research in. Even still, looks like he has found an Evolution Incense and another Quick Ball.
Absolutely, so we're diving right back into the deck for another Archeops here on Regan's side of the field. So both Archeops are going to be in the discard here in a second, and that is a place you want to be as a Lugia player.
Great spot to be in. I think Regan will be just fine with how things have gone thus far. Does have the Oranguru, and I think wisely may choose to use Primate Wisdom before playing the Quick Ball, or is going to hold on to the Quick Ball and just go with the Read the Wind. Okay.
There we go, Read the Winds, and now we are back over onto Rahul's side of the field, starting off with a quick Choice Belt onto that Regieleki, into that Professor's Research, a couple more energy, I think, hitting the discard there, into a Trekking Shoes. Ooh, easy discard there with that Aurora Energy.
And the Quick Ball hit off of the other card. I think there's a Regice in hand. Does Rahul have a way to get enough of these Regi Pokemon down? And I don't think he does. I think we're going to be seeing a Regigate this turn just to try to set up a little bit. That was so close to exactly what Rahul needed to attack this turn.
I was about to say, yeah, it's very nice always seeing both Aurora Energy there into the discard pile, though. That's quite nice.
Yeah.
But still, just going to need a little bit more setup there on the Reggie side. We've seen some absolutely pop-off turns, especially with Sam Chen in that last Reggie matchup that we saw. But hey, sometimes you got to take it a little slow here and just consistently set up over a few turns.
Yeah, and I think we are going to see that Regigate right now, bringing down one of those Regi Pokemon. It will be the Registeel coming out to the party, and now Regan will kick off his turn, and we'll see if he can find that Lugia V-Star. Actually, Boo, I think it's already in hand.
Oh, very nice. There we go. You are correct, Chip. Regan slapping down that Lugia V-Star real quick here. And the lone Oranguru still on the bench here, but there are tons of cards in the hand here for Regan still to play for the turn.
Yeah, it turns out you get lots of options after you use Read the Wind. It
Yes.
was a little bit of a hold your breath moment. Rahul could have theoretically popped off, taken out that one Lugia V-Star. It was pretty unlikely, though, and I think Regan knew that. Didn't want to put a second liability in play, so played to the odds there, and it ends up paying off for him.
Well, it's also interesting if you think about it, Chip, because technically, I believe these players are pretty much playing like it's open deck list, because I'm sure they probably know each other's exact
for
60.
sure.
So their strategies are going to be even cleaner when you think about it, because they know pretty much every single card in each other's deck.
And this is a huge play for Regan. Using that Luminion, boss's orders bring up that Regieleki, target it while it is holding onto that Choice Belt tool card. That is what boosts the Terra Spark in order to one-hit KO a Lugia V-Star, dealing 300 damage to that Lightning Weak Pokemon. But now if Regan takes that out of play and makes it more difficult for Rahul to find now another Regieleki, and then a Scoop-Up Net, and then another Choice Belt, things are looking pretty good in Regan Retzloff's court.
Absolutely. The last Lugia V-Star player that we've seen make it all the way to the top. And will Regan be able to clean up with a 2-0 in this match? We will have to see, but definitely treating this game very well here. Check out the danger levels on the field. Of course, that Regieleki is the most dangerous thing out there, and you are in a great position here to just be targeting it down as soon as possible and eliminating it from play while still setting up your board as well.
Yeah, part of the reason that Dunsparce has been so good in this Lugia deck is for a matchup like this specifically. You get to use your Lugia V-Star 2 times when you otherwise maybe would have only gotten to use it once, because your opponent is not able to one-hit KO it thanks to Mysterious Nest. But Regan not playing it this weekend, choosing not to include it in the list. This is going to be his best way to try to get to attack with a Lugia V-Star 2 times, taking out this Regieleki with the Choice Belt and forcing Rahul to have everything.
Absolutely, and that's kind of where the Reggie deck falters sometimes. If you have to face too many obstacles and you don't have enough draw support to get into all of those cards, you can be put in a very dangerous situation. So here we go, though. Regieleki being pulled out there. Off the quick ball.
And I think that was one of the best top decks for Rahul, actually.
What was the top deck,
finding the quick ball. He's got a Choice Belt in the hand, he had Ordinary Rod, but didn't have a way to get Regieleki to put that Choice Belt down. And he's got all his Reggie set up.
Go.
These Choice Belts are coming down. We're seeing the research. Rahul now only needing a Scoop-Up Net in order to move this Regidrago, and I think he's already drawn it.
Wow, that is everything you wanted to see. Just as we were talking about the obstacles, Rahul just knocked them all down pretty much there with that turn. Absolutely amazing to see here from Rahul's side of the field.
We'll actually see this opportunity to use 2 Regigigas at once, and this is really smart from Rahul, prepping an energy onto this Regidrago. He can now promote this later in the game, attach a Twin Energy to it, and then retreat it out of the active spot. So really, really heads-up play from Rahul. Not just using the Scoop-Up Net to pick up the Regidrago, like many players probably would have, but taking the opportunity to get that extra energy into play, and also has Path to the Peak. That's massive to shut down a second Luminion.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. It's just every single card Rahul needed there came into play. And here we go, that Regieleki is going to take out that Lugia V-Star there. All the energy needed was applied, and of course that Choice Belt, just enough there for Rahul to take those 2 prize cards, going down to 4. Now we're back over here onto Regan's side of the field. Luminion V being promoted into the active position here.
Yeah, Luminion's the perfect response to Regieleki because it deals exactly 120 damage with its Aqua Return, and it also takes itself out of play, putting it back into the deck, getting this 2 prize card liability off the field, making sure that Rahul's not going to be able to chase that down with something like a Boss or Serena.
Absolutely, and those Archeops are in danger here with those damage counters being applied, of course, from the last round 2 from Rahul, so this is scary for Regan now. Things have changed up a bit here. Manaphy at least coming into play at this point now.
Yeah, this will shut down some of that damage that Rahul could do with the Terra Spark, and also does shut off the play for Rahul to go for that other Regieleki's attacks in order to target down the Archeops down there on the bench. That's exactly why Rahul probably put the 40 damage, so that he would have that option to go for the targeted bolt.
Absolutely. So here we go, grinded through this turn here. Regan gonna apply that Aurora energy and a powerful colorless energy there onto that Luminion V.
Has another Archeops still to use. Might hold off for just a moment, though, and wait to see exactly how things develop. Still has a supporter he can play this turn, I believe, as well, right?
Yeah, hasn't played one yet, so as long as we have one in hand.
Oh, actually, I don't think I see one. Does have Quick Ball and Ultra Ball, which could normally find that second Luminion, but we know in this spot, Path to the Peak is going to shut that play down.
That is true there, Chip. You're correct. I don't see a supporter either here.
And Regan actually finds that Stoutland, something that could come up for him potentially. Not sure how many powerful energies are down or how many maybe are prized, but yeah, something he'll have to keep in his back pocket. Obviously, this one on the Luminion is in play, but that's going to go right back into the deck shortly.
Yeah, it's going to be shuffled back in off of that Aqua Return. Speed Lightning energy being placed onto that Manaphy there from the Archeops, giving it that pivot option in the future.
Yeah, thinking this means Manaphy will probably be being sent up to the active. You're expecting Rahul to maybe get the knockout, but, you know, maybe in case Rahul plays his one escape rope, that's something that you have as a pivot hanging around because, yeah, like we mentioned, Regan is definitely aware of all of Rahul's little tricks that he could play.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, both of these players just playing this so well here and just preparing all of their future turns in the necessary ways that they need to. But it's going to be that Orangaroo promoted into the active there from Regan. We're back over onto Rahul's side after a prize card, of course, is taken by Regan, going down to 4 prize cards left, evening up the field here in our Masters top 4.
And Rahul does have the quick ball to replace this Reggie Alecki right away. I do think there was a Terra Spark Alecki prized, but he does play the split, plays the targeted bolt one, so as long as that other one is available, he'll have access to it. And this is actually a pretty nasty turn to play the escape rope. You force Regan's hand a lot here. He has to either give up one of his 2 Archeops, one of the most important resources in his entire deck, or he has to give up the Manaphy, which is going to allow you to have free reign with your Terra Spark later on.
Yeah, and that is definitely scary to do, but that's what Regan is going to have to send up on this escape rope here. That Manaphy coming into the active, so Rahul not letting Regan run away with this game at all, putting Regan into continuous difficult positions with these turns.
Yeah, Rahul is definitely in the driver's seat of this game. I think if things continue back and forth like this, Rahul is probably going to win this game, but we know that Marnie is always a card that could rear its head and potentially stick Rahul with a tough hand, but Rahul's going to try to play around that as much as possible. We see that gift energy coming down.
Yeah, that gift energy is such an important inclusion in this deck. I haven't seen it in some of the Reggie lists that we've seen, but that was also a...
that was a special list.
Yes, exactly. But here we go, that Reggie Steele going to be taking the knockout there on that Manaphy, so the bench protection here is out of play here for Regan.
Yeah, Radiant Jirachi making a special appearance there, but we'll get back over to Regan's turn as he has the Radiant Charizard hanging around. That could start to attack pretty soon if Regan can find a way to get this Path to the Peak out of play. Starting off with the Capture Energy here first, though.
Yep, Capture Energy eyeing up the Lugia in the deck here.
And this is a pretty good time to go for a Lugia, a good time to use your Lightning Weak attacker when Rahul has down that targeted Bolt, Reggie Alecki. Of course, targeted Bolt does only allow you to target benched Pokemon. So if you attack with that Lugia V, it can deal enough to knock out this Registeel. It has that Arrow Dive that does 130 exactly, and it won't be in immediate threat of being KO'd. Rahul would have to do some funky stuff with Scoop Up Net to make that happen.
Yep, that is true, Chip. We're still going through this turn. I mean, both of these players, just these turns back and forth, have been such incredible play. Like we're just seeing pretty much flawless play from both these players so far.
Yeah, not many mistakes going down right here. Regan, I think, will be forced to maybe use a powerful energy here if he wants to go with this Lugia. He might be thinking this is a decent time to attack with Archeops, as we are seeing that is the recipient of these energies from the Primal Turbo. Does have the second one to use. Looks like we're eyeing up the energy cards. Probably will be loading them onto the Lugia if I had to guess.
Yep, that is what it's looking like it's going to be. Powerful colorless energy and that heat fire energy going onto the Lugia V on the bench here.
Just looking through the deck, Regan has not been able to thin super efficiently. He's probably got about 25-ish cards or so in that deck still.
Yeah, I think we still have the Primate Wisdom as well here on Regan's side.
Yeah, should have that. Both Primal Turbos have been used, though. Don't think we've seen a supporter yet. Yep, have not seen that, so...
So many actions here.
Yeah, no kidding. So many things that have to happen.
That Radiant Charizard joining the field here on Regan's side.
Yeah, Regan does still have some Lost Vacuum play available, so could potentially get rid of that path to the peak, make it so Radiant Charizard could come in and take a knockout. He's going to hold off on playing anything like that Research in hand, though. Just takes this KO with the Speed Wing, tying the game back up at 3 prize cards. Let's see what Rahul Reddy has available.
Yeah, this has just been a slug fest here for both of these players. Let's see what Rahul is going to promote here. Going to be that Regigigas.
Yeah, just checking over at Rahul's list. Does play the full 4 scoop-up nets, so only one being in the discard pile right now. It does give him some play to reach for the Regieleki Serena play. It's kind of a lot to get, though, and I don't think he's going to go for it. It would just kind of be one of those things that if he had a hand that was strong enough, he could do it.
Yeah, but sometimes you just got to roll, like I said, just playing this extremely safe here, but consistent. And that is the key word here, because if Rahul can just continue to get these consistent knockouts, there's the ability for Rahul to take more prize cards off the field than Regan has the ability to do.
And yeah, Rahul does not have to go for that scoop up net play on the Regieleki by any means this turn. Could maybe try to find that in a future turn. And for now, we'll just be content taking this knockout on Archeops with anything that'll do the job. And Regigigas seems like just as good a candidate as anything.
Yep, and once that Archeops goes down, that is less energy acceleration that Regan has on their side of the field too. So that is definitely something to note here. But of course, that Lugia V is kind of already lined up there on the bench here. Still can function off of just one Primal Turbo.
There's the knockout from Rahul, going down to just 2 prize cards remaining. Regan sending up this Radiant Charizard. I think going to be hoping to find a Lost Vacuum. Does have 2 copies in the deck. If he can find one of those 2 and attack with the Radiant Charizard, that's going to be his best bet here.
Single prizer.
It would, of course, be attacking into the gift energy of Rahul. It's going to fill his hand back up and give him plenty of options to work with.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And Rahul does play the boss's order in the deck as well. Yeah. I don't believe we've seen this game.
Yeah, has boss's orders and also a couple copies of Serena, so several ways to try to close it out next
Serena
turn.
Too. Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be a bit, though, to ask for. He doesn't have any of those pieces in hand, so he's going to be relying on a combination of gift energy and maybe if he can thin the hand down a bit, the Dragon's Horde as well.
Yeah, but Regan doing everything in his power here to put the best foot forward, and the Radiant Charizard is going to get those 2 Aurora energy off of that single Primal Turbo for the turn.
Regan, I think, is really off this research going to be looking for that Lost Vacuum.
Yeah, we need to see a bump here on that path to the peak. Otherwise, that Radiant Charizard is not going to have enough energy.
Regan is going to lose some energy cards to this play, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy in hand.
It does make it a little awkward. He can't attach the double turbo maybe down to the Lugia V. It has the powerful colorless energy on it, but, you know, double turbo, powerful colorless will cancel each other out, so he'd still be able to deal 130 with it later on.
Yep, Rahul taking a look through the discard pile as well, keeping track of all the resources Regan has already lost here.
Oh yeah, Regan does, of course, also still have access to Pumpkaboo, so doesn't even want to utilize that research here if he can. Will bump that path, and that allows him to now play the Luminion in his hand and go for a boss's orders play.
Boss's orders, bringing up that Regieleki there. That dangerous Regieleki on the field of Rahul's side for Regan. Very nice here. I forgot all about that little Pumpkaboo chip.
And this is really good for Regan as well because the Radiant Charizard can be a little awkward to KO. The only Reggie that Rahul has that can deal with it is either the Regidrago or the Regice. There's a few energy in play on the Regigigas, but yeah, as long as Rahul can find a Regieleki, he should be able to manage this. This does, of course, play around the gift energy. That's probably the main thing Regan is going for here, not trying to give Rahul access to drawing all those extra cards.
Yeah, that's huge. Playing around that is very important. You want, like we've said time and time again, your opponent to have to go through as many obstacles as possible. Taking another prize card there for Regan. Now we're going to go back to Rahul's side and see what is promoted into the active position here after losing that Regieleki to the discard pile. Of course, Dragon's Horde, Reggie Drago. It's always a nice pick, especially since it already has that energy attached to it, although its retreat cost is quite beefy.
Yeah, Rahul does not have to win this turn. I'm sure he would like to, and it would be nice, but he does not have to win this turn. If he can just knock out this Radiant Charizard, go down to just one prize card remaining, he has potentially this targeted Bolt Regieleki to close out the game on Oranguru, Pumpkaboo, Archeops, plenty of things to choose from on Regan's bench.
How many times do you think both these players have played through this exact matchup, Chip?
I mean, the way they test together, the way they both wanted to play this deck for the tournament, I'm sure it happened many, many times in preparation. Rahul thins the hand all the way down, does just have 2 Scoop Up Net available. Could actually get 2 uses out of the Ancient Wisdom here if he wants it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that earlier from Rahul, and I feel like I don't even see that play very often. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, this is actually going to be really smart from Rahul. He's loaded up the energy onto the Regieleki. It's targeted bolt. Of course, Combustion Blast from Charizard does have an effect that makes it so you cannot attack in subsequent turns. So what Rahul is going to want to do here is targeted bolt.
Stick it.
Target down that Archeops. No, actually, we'll just take out the Charizard. And I think by leaving all these energy cards in play, by putting the energy on the active Regidrago and leaving the energy on the Regieleki, Rahul is trying to get as close to a checkmate as he can. Regan does have one play available. It is involving Boss's orders, take out that Regieleki. And I think Rahul maybe made this play knowing that both Boss are in Regan's discard pile. And yeah, Regan sees he can't win and concedes this game. We're going into a Game 3 to determine our other OCIC finalists.
Absolutely flawless there from both of our players. I mean, like we said, that was an absolute slugfest back and forth, but the motions were so fluid, there was very little contemplation there. Both of these players know their decks so incredibly well, and we're bringing it into a Game 3 now, Chip. That is absolutely hype.
Game 3, 1 game to go. This is exactly what Rahul needed to do in order to get to this point. After giving up a 2 prize card penalty before Game 1 even started, you're starting as big of a back foot as you possibly could in the Pokemon TCG, and Rahul found a way to fight back even after losing game number 1. And I do have to say, Rahul found himself going to Game 3 up against Retzloff in top 8, a Lugia player as well from Israel. Rahul found himself going to Game 3, and in that game, Raz went first, attached an energy to a Lugia and passed. Rahul absolutely popped off and found the turn 1 Regieleki attack to win the game. I'm not a big fan of foreshadowing donks like that, but you know, if there's a time to make it happen for Rahul, it's absolutely now.
Absolutely, Chip, because one of these players will be in our finals competing tomorrow in our championship Sunday. This is where, you know, all of the cards fall, no pun intended here. Let's see what these initial turns are going to look like for our players, but we're going to start off the setup here with a mulligan on Rahul's side of the field.
A mulligan on Rahul's side, and a pretty decent hand here for Regan. He does have to start either Radiant Charizard or the Lumineon, it looks like, but does have Evolution Incense and Quick Ball waiting in the hand, so not going to see any lone Pokemon KOs for Rahul to just win super fast. It's going to be a good game. Here we go, Boo.
Yeah, and those are the cards you want to see in your opening hand as well. Lots to work with on Regan's side of the field. Let's see what the prize cards have in store for Regan. Hopefully nothing too detrimental here.
Yeah, nothing too big of a deal. That one Stoutland could come up. It's kind of a niche attacker in this matchup, but it is at the bottom of the prizes, so if Regan wants it, it's pretty likely he'll be able to find it at some point. Rahul prizing a couple of energy, a Marnie, nothing too bad.
Yeah, nothing too bad for either of these players, which is always nice to see. So here we go, Chip. We are kicking off our match here, Masters Top 4. This is the game that decides who our second finalist is going to be. The pressure is on, and we're starting over on Regan's side of the field here. Of course, we saw the initial hand. Quick Ball is going to quickly discard that Archeops into the discard pile here. Of course, Lumineon V was chosen to be the active Pokemon for the turn here from Regan, and we're kicking off this turn.
Yeah, it's a tough choice between Lumineon or Radiant Charizard. The Lumineon can obviously put itself back into the deck, but it only knocks out the Regieleki on Rahul's side. You could start the Radiant Charizard, and it can get a Combustion Blast KO on turn 2, but it is extremely energy hungry in the early parts of the game. It would require 5 energy cards, and I don't think Regan felt like he wanted to make that commitment this early.
Yeah, not only that, but the retreat cost is very, very large as well compared to the Lumineon V2. And yeah, we've seen so many games where Lumineon has started, and it hasn't at all been too detrimental for our Lugia players. So here we go, Lugia V being established on the bench here with that double turbo energy, and contemplation on the choice belt there, but just gonna pass it over to Rahul. Reddy, let's see what's in the opening hand here. Of course, Rahul did have 1 mulligan, so Regan got to choose an extra card there, but we are starting with a Professor's Research. Is that 2 scoop up nets though, Chip?
That is 2 scoop up nets down, which I'm sure Rahul is not pumped about, but it is also 2 energy cards. So a pretty good trade-off if you ask me. This hand though for Rahul as well, it's got a few different options. Ultra Ball and a Quick Ball, it looks like. That will get that third energy down, yeah.
Yeah, you definitely want to focus on those Aurora energy being in the discard pile because they count for any energy requirement that you might need for your Pokemon. So it's always very useful to have those. Puts you in less sticky situations in the future. So Rahul, getting those energy nice and ready in the discard pile in our turn 1 here.
So Rahul did find the 1 escape rope. So there was a world where if he had found enough Pokemon, he could have brought up this Lugia and taken it out. And I guess he potentially could still do it. He'd need an exact combination of cards. Oh, he did find 1 Reggie. Did not find the other one, though. If he had found 2 Reggie Pokemon right there, he actually would have been able to take the turn 1 knockout on Lugia V. Regan does not know how close he was to losing his Lugia this turn.
I mean, maybe I'm sure Regan does see there that it was a very scary situation, but the Regidrago being promoted after that escape rope there. So the Lugia V will be in the active spot now here for Regan.
I mean, it is still possible. The turn is not over. Rahul is down 2 scoop up nets, does have the Ultra Ball. So he's going to send up this Regidrago, and now can Ultra Ball bring down, looks like that Regice. So if off of Dragon's Horde for 3 cards, Rahul can find specifically Scoop Up Net and then a way to get out that Registeel, he actually would be able to Terra Spark on turn 1 for a KO.
Chip, if we see this happen again, I am just going to be absolutely astounded here. But you know what? It's our Masters top 4 match.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see if we can make this happen.
There's a Quick Ball. Did he find it? Did he find it? Quick Ball. He's moving quickly. I think, did he find the scoop up net? There is absolutely no shot.
No way, Chip. I don't believe my eyes right now. There is no way. I mean, I don't know. Rahul is moving fast there, so this could mean what we think it means potentially.
He slammed that far too quickly. Let's see where these energy cards go from the Ancient Wisdom. It's just to the active.
Oh my gosh, there was so much anticipation there, Chip, but here we go. I think I heard in the crowd too, like,
I mean, let's be real though. A turn 1 Giant Fangs is absolutely incredible regardless. This puts Rahul in a really dominant spot so far in this game. Turn 1 Reggie attack. His list is not built to do that.
No.
But sometimes it just makes it happen.
Yep, and now just sitting in such a comfortable spot here on Rahul's side of the field. Of course, we are over here now on Regan's turn here. So now just a heavily damaged Lugia V. Not something you want to be looking at, that is for sure.
Not ideal without a doubt. Regan does, of course, need to find that V-Star. Looks like we are fetching out the Archeops, and Regan, I don't think had a great hand, so I think that research that's in his hand must have been the top deck for turn.
Yeah, I think so too. That is for sure, but of course, if it is played, that Archeops is going to hit the discard pile there. We do still need to see that Lugia V-Star, as you stated there, Chip, but fresh 7 cards, you got a pretty good chance to hit something, either the V-Star or something to search it out.
Yes, so many cards that you could find. The odds are definitely in your favor.
Choice belt being applied here to the Lugia V before we see the discard, and the powerful colorless energy also was applied to that Lumineon V. And there we have it, Chip. From that Professor's Research, we see that Lugia V-Star join in the hand.
It never feels great, though, to evolve a Pokemon that already has
Yeah.
so much damage on it, but there really is no other play for Regan. This is how his deck works. He has to get a turn 2 Lugia, has to get 2 Archeops out, and start using those Primal Turbos. There's no other option for him but to evolve this Pokemon with so much damage on it already.
Absolutely, having to respond in the best way possible to such a strong turn from Rahul in that first initial turn. So here we go. We are going into the deck here off of the first Primal Turbo for Regan. So eyeing up the energy that are available in the deck and which ones Regan wanted to apply to the Pokemon on the field.
Yeah, something like V-Guard energy is not super useful, so that's usually one of the first grabs in this matchup. We could just see the double turbo energy come down and satisfy both of those energy requirements. That does mean Regan won't be able to use that later on something like a Radiant Charizard to maybe attack with that a little bit earlier. He could, of course, still just put extra energy cards onto it, but it's kind of nice to use it for that reason.
Yep, going back in here with that Primal Turbo.
Something that also can be an option in this matchup that Regan now really won't be able to go for is to use Yveltal's Amazing Destruction to get around the gift energy from Rahul's side. If Rahul ever played himself to a low hand size and Regan didn't have a boss's orders, that is something that could theoretically be an option. Once again, it's a very energy-hungry attacker, so it's risky to do that, but now with 2 double turbos in play, it makes it very difficult for Regan to do any sort of play like that.
Absolutely there, Chip, but we are going to see the knockout there for Regan, so first prize card taken on Regan's side of the field now, going down 1. Of course, that Lugia V-Star is in a very vulnerable state here in the active position, and Rahul has plenty of time to respond here. Regieleki being in the active position here with 1 energy already attached.
And Rahul, I think, did top deck the Quick Ball, by the way, so that is an excellent card to get whenever you've just had one of your Reggie Pokemon KO'd, so let's get on back into the party here, Regidrago.
Yeah, just search another one out. No big deal. Regidrago joining us again. What is that last card there, Chip? Do you know?
It's a Professor's Research Brew.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah, this is looking pretty nice for Rahul Reddy. He's going to dump the 0-card hand, find a 7-card new hands to work with. No high fives from these players, even though they're friends. I think the stakes are a little high for that.
Yeah, I'm sure they are absolutely laser focused right now, just like the laser on that Registeel card that we're seeing right there. There we go, Rahul getting a fresh 7 cards there off that Professor's Research. I mean, really the only way that could have been more beneficial, I guess, is if more energy cards were discarded, but Rahul has literally all the energy needed. I mean, there's 3 Aurora energy in the discard pile already. So
yeah, I think the one thing Rahul wishes he had here would be gift energy to try to withstand the potential play from Regan, and he doesn't have access to it just yet, and is actually going to use Ancient Wisdom to just bring 1 energy card into play. Does have Scoop Up Net, so he will now use it once again, potentially to put those 3 Auroras down.
Yep, I love that. Scooping up to be able to use that Ancient Wisdom again.
Yeah, I could throw these onto maybe the Regidrago so that he has the option to either Giant Fangs or even manually retreat it. Could go with the Registeel as an attacker. It's not too bad either.
For some heavy slam in there, Chip.
Absolutely. Could take out that Luminion with just 1 retreat. It could take out the Archeops after it maybe takes some damage from this incoming Terra Spark, which I'm sure that is exactly where Rahul is going to be placing this damage.
Yeah, true. There's a lot of options there from that Registeel, but here we go. Rahul taking his first prize cards here. It's going to be 2, though, for Rahul on this side of the field, knocking out that Lugia V-Star. Back over onto Regan's side now, that Luminion V with the powerful colorless energy being promoted here, and a pretty big hand to work with as well. A couple energy I see in the hand.
Yeah, I think the only thing that makes the Registeel energies a little questionable would be if Regan chose to attack with Radiant Charizard here, because it has 3 retreats, so Heavy Slam is not going to be dealing very much to that. Of course, Rahul could just retreat the energies off of the Registeel, but at that point, maybe you'd rather just have them on the Regidrago to retreat them off of that.
Yep, so many intricate plays Rahul can go for. I mean, that's the Reggie deck kind of in itself. There's so many ways you can play it, so many different attackers. All those Reggie at your fingers there, so that's quite nice. But here we go. Primal Turbo getting an Aurora energy and a powerful color energy onto that Lumineon V, which of course, if Aqua returns, those will all go back into the deck there on Regan's side. Stoutland V is in the hand too for Regan. I mean, there's tons of cards in the hand. There's Marnie there too, Raikou.
Plenty to work with. Capture Energy coming down onto the Archeops is going to
grab
that Manaphy. Yep, we're seeing things play out kind of similarly so far to what we saw in game number 2. Manaphy is now going to protect these Archeops on the bench from the targeted bolt of Regieleki. So heads up play there from Regan, trying to play around anything that Rahul could do. The question is now, what is Regan going to send up after the Aqua return? Maybe the Radiant Charizard is going to be the choice. That is a little awkward. It does have a pretty hefty retreat cost, but it's maybe better than sending up your Lumineon, and you know that Rahul doesn't have that escape rope to make any disgusting plays on you after he got rid of that on turn 1.
Yeah, and with the plays that Rahul has been making, I would just always kind of look out for worst case scenario here. But first, we are going to see this Marnie from Regan. So Marnie's going to be initiated here. All of those cards in both players' hands going to the bottom of each other's deck.
Regan was able to find another Lugia V, so we could see this be a double V-star game potentially. Maybe if Regan thinks Rahul doesn't have access to very many choice belts, that is something that could be an option. Try to get a double attack maybe out of that Pokemon.
Yeah. Taking a quick look through the discard pile on Rahul's side here. As we said, I'm sure both of these players know each other's lists pretty well, so making sure that they check what resources have already been burned to favor into their own strategy here. Looks like we're going to go into that second Primal Turbo here for the turn on Regan's side, applying 2 more energy. Of course, it's any special energy, but it does have to go onto 1 Pokemon.
Yeah, putting that Heat Fire onto Charizard will force Rahul's hand just a little bit. It means he won't be able to take the knockout with Regidrago on this Radiant Charizard. He actually will have to knock it out with the Blizzard Bind of Regice, hitting, of course, for the weakness.
Yep, but that is something the Reggie deck is so good at doing. So many different types of Reggie that can capitalize on all of those weaknesses that you might see in your matchups. So very nice there. And I mean, that's why I think the Reggie players really picked this deck to go into this tournament. Gives you so much versatility in these matchups. Here we go, Aqua return on that Lumineon V there on Regan's side. Quick knockout on that Regieleki, going down another prize card, down to 4 here. So both of our players are going to even up the playing field. And now we are back over onto Rahul's side, of course, after the promotion of that Radiant Charizard, as you were mentioning before, Chip.
And the Ordinary Rod will put the Regieleki back into the deck alongside a Regidrago. Rahul does not have a way to search for that card immediately in hand. There's no Quick Ball, no Capture Energy, no Ultra Ball. Does have the research, though. Rahul has just been able to chain together draw supporter after draw supporter this game.
Absolutely. So here we go, Choice Belt coming down onto the Regidrago before the research is played, so that you utilize that instead of just throwing it into the discard. We're going to see that research, though. Let's see what cards Rahul finds himself.
I think Rahul missed the Regieleki.
Oh, no. Look at that.
Yeah, that is going to mean Rahul may not be able to attack this turn unless he can thin his hand down to draw with Dragon's Horde, and I don't think he can do that. Maybe Rahul's decision to preload these energies on the Registeel could be coming back to bite him right now.
Yeah, that is definitely a tough spot to be in here, Chip, because once you lose that momentum with a Reggie deck, once you miss a turn, things can go haywire real quick, potentially on your side, because then you are just that much further behind.
So with the path to the peak in play, Regan will still have to find a decent way to attack with this Charizard. It's not able to use that Excited Heart ability. And Rahul's not even going to feel like it's worth it to go for the Heavy Slam. That little bit of damage is not worth it at all. Just would have been 70 there. Doesn't even 2-hit KO that Radiant Charizard with the Heat Fire on it. So we'll just take the turn to Regigate, bring down that Regieleki. That is definitely a slow turn for Rahul.
Slow turn, but still potential for some recovery later in the game. We'll have to see how this plays out, though. Regan, let's see if Regan's able to capitalize off that slow turn with this hand. Over onto Regan's side of the field now. We're going to see that Lost Vacuum here.
That's going to make it much easier to attack with Charizard. Now it just needs to find 2 energy to place onto it. Going to deal more than enough damage to Registeel. It is just subsequently fire weak, so...
Yeah, that's very true.
500 damage coming out, maybe the biggest attack we've seen all weekend.
That is very true, Chip. We were talking so much about weaknesses on Rahul's side of the field, but Regan's got some weakness strategy here too. That Charizard smacking quite heavy into that heavy Slam Registeel. All right.
So I'm thinking through the lines here for Regan, and I'm wondering if there's maybe a path where he could go in, try to use a second Lugia V-Star this game, try to force Rahul's hand, maybe to go for the Terra Spark Regieleki, and then if Rahul does that, Regan can maybe try to clean the game up with 2 prize cards on a Stoutland. I do not think he has had to discard any powerful colorless energy just yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either. We've seen them come down, but I think it was only on the Aqua returns.
Yeah, Rahul's taking a look through the discard pile. I don't see any in there. I don't think so, at least. So that is something that maybe Regan could try to set up. It would involve him establishing a Lugia V this turn, and then trying to attack with the V-Star on the next turn.
Yep, definitely a strategy Regan can take here.
He's looking through all of his attackers. He's bringing everything to the front of the deck, thinking through all of these possibilities, all of the different options that are in front of him, just trying to determine what is the game-winning line.
Yeah, what is going to get me there, exactly.
Ooh, amazing rare Eviltal coming out, maybe just to thin it out of the deck, not something he probably wants to be utilizing.
Yep, still looking through the deck here, though. Shuffling up now here. What are the last 2 cards in the hand, though, Chip?
Yeah, haven't gotten a good look quite yet. Regan does still have some play available. I think maybe with this Eviltal being grabbed could signal a potential research coming out, just discarding this card that's not going to be super strong in this matchup at this point with so many energies already in play. Ooh, no, actually all he has is a Rangaroo and the Evolution Incense.
Interesting. Well, I'm sure we'll probably see...
Yeah, we're going to see that Primate Wisdom coming out soon.
Wisdom here. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else that we can see here. Ooh, what is that, a boss?
It is a boss. Okay, so that is a little interesting. You could maybe get around this Registeel, force something else active. Maybe if Rahul's got too many of a certain Reggie in the discard pile, you could target that down.
Yeah.
But Rahul's just cleaned out his discard pile last turn with the Ordinary Rod, so don't think any plays like that are going to really work.
Absolutely, but here we go. Regan on this side of the field. I mean, everything has come down to this, Chip. So these decisions being made right now by Regan are so crucial to potentially wrapping up this Game 3 and being one of the finalists here in our Oceania International Championship. That energy coming down onto the Archeops there.
Yep, Archeops will be getting the energy, meaning that we're not going to be seeing a Stoutland play at any point this game. Cuts that off, but Speedwing, of course, will be able to knock out any of the Reggies on Rahul's side now, so that's going to be Regan's attacking option moving forward.
Here we go, huge knockout there, Chip, on that Registeel from that Radiant Charizard. Down another prize card here on Regan's side, and this game is getting scarier and scarier, more intense here for both of our players.
Yes.
Now we're over to Rahul, who had a slow turn, and let's see how the recovery turns out for this turn.
It does find an Ordinary Rod to put back just the one Registeel. I think that is just the second Ordinary Rod down for Rahul, so should still have one more available. It does always get sketchy. You got to be really mindful of those recovery resources.
Yeah, that's some of the most important cards in your deck, that is for sure.
Oh, and it's going to come to this. Marnie. Does Rahul Reddy find the Registeel in order to get off the attack? And he finds it off the last card, the final card. Okay, well, he did have Capture Energy and Ultra Ball, so...
Okay, we're fine, we're fine.
We were getting the Registeel out regardless, but yeah.
Still hype,
it's a little bit more exciting to just naturally draw it, right?
Yeah, there we go. Very clean here. That Regice going to take a quick knockout there on that Radiant Charizard. Just a nice response there, taking another prize card here on Rahul's side of the field.
Yep, Blizzard Bind dealing that 100 damage, of course, ×2 for the weakness that Radiant Charizard does have. More than enough to deal with it, getting over that heat fire energy that was otherwise boosting those hit points. Regan now choosing what to send up. It looks like it's going to be Archeops time. going in with that attack here.
And this is where it gets intense here, Chip. Both of our players down to 3 prize cards now. We are so close to figuring out who is going to be one of our finalists. Are you excited, Chip, for the conclusion of this game?
It's really coming down to it. And Regan actually has a pretty interesting play lined up. He's got boss's orders in his hand, and if he can go for a boss, target down one of these other Reggie Pokemon in play, not hit into the gift energy, not give Rahul those extra cards to work with, there's a chance that Rahul doesn't have much to work with after he's just played his own Marnie this previous turn, having a lower hand size.
Oh yeah, we've seen that time and time again. Punished off your own Marnie. That is really rough, but that is definitely potentially what we can see. As you mentioned before, Chip, always wanting to work around that gift energy. You never want to play into your opponent's strategy here, drawing more cards. Always something you would like to limit off your opponent. That Aurora energy going to come down onto the active Archeops here.
That will mean that there are enough energy cards on it to go for that Speed Wing, can take anything out. Over on Rahul's side, thanks to the powerful colorless energy, of course, boosting the damage of these colorless Pokemon by 20 when it is attached to one of them.
Pretty powerful card there, Chip, for sure.
I would say so, Shelby, yes.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Thinking about maybe the second Primal Turbo.
Yeah, I was going to say, still second Primal Turbo, Primate Wisdom as well.
Nothing great to put them on unless you're just going to go ahead and prepare the second Archeops, which it does appear like that will be the move from Regan.
Taking a quick look through the discard pile on Rahul's side here. Regan shuffling up.
And by attacking with one Archeops here, and then another Archeops next turn, Regan is going to maybe have a hard time finding where his last prize card is going to come from, the way these things are mapping out. He's going to go down to 2 here. This other Archeops takes 1. Where does your final prize come? You've already used your Radiant Charizard, which is normally the late game sweeper, and it looks like Lugia V is going to have to be the option for now, maybe finding a V-Star in the future.
Yep, that is what's going to be played down to the bench. Of course, we still have the manual attachment for turn, so from hands that Aurora energy onto the Lugia V, and we are going to see a Marnie here from Regan's side of the field.
Interesting,
so
yeah.
5 cards and 4 for Rahul.
Yeah, really interesting, choosing not to go for the boss this turn. This is going to leave Rahul not with a 4-card hand, but with a 7-card hand before he even gets to draw for turn.
Yeah, and that could really change things up here, Chip, because it's like you said, it could really come down to these last few cards, what Rahul is able to draw to potentially close out this game.
And Rahul has actually already even found the other Regice, so this is going to be really strong for him.
Oh my goodness.
Filling his hand up, he's drawn a Registeel as well. Maybe that will make Registeel his attacker of choice.
Yeah. Eyeballing it here and gonna promote it into the active. Oh my gosh, Chip, that gift energy so strong, still able to draw for turn as well and jumping straight into the prize cards here. Just grabbing a casual Regieleki off the prize cards as well, shuffling back up. Only 3 prize cards left here.
Yeah, and 3 pretty good ones, the Regieleki, a gift energy, and a twin energy. Now the Hisuian Heavy Ball will take the Aleki's place.
Yep, trekking shoes. Opting to choose to keep that Regieleki in the hand. All the Reggie are in hand here, really, for Rahul. That Regice, of course, joining the board state, though, so that we have all 6 Reggie on the field now.
Rahul has a Marnie in hand, and that's what his debate is right here. If the game only lasts a few more turns, Rahul has just about everything lined up to close this out. With that Lugia V on the bench, though, he might be wanting to play this Marnie so that he can go for a boss's orders play to potentially close it out. But it's going to involve him finding, I think, his last scoop up net to get this targeted Bolt Aleki out of play. And he did find it. Okay.
Wow, there it is. Trekking shoes.
Going to look at the top card, decide if he wants to keep it or lose it. It's going to be that Gigas.
Yeah.
And I think maybe there's a chance Rahul is pretty light on his recovery resources. That might be why we're seeing him keep all of these other pieces.
The Reggie.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, here we go. We're going to see that knockout there for Rahul, going down to just 2 prize cards for both players. We are back over on Regan's side of the field. That Archeops being in the active. Lugia V-Star has been found from Regan's side. I mean, we did see that Marnie, so it must have been drawn out of the deck there.
Yeah, so this is, I think, what things are coming down to. Regan is going to attack with the Archeops this turn, go to just one prize card remaining, and he's going to threaten this Lugia V-Star to be the closing attacker on the bench. Just needs to load the energy cards up onto it to make that happen.
Oh my gosh.
If he does that, Rahul has to find Serena or Boss's orders to bring up this Lugia V-Star and also get the other Regieleki into play, meaning he needs to play the scoop up net. He needs to get this targeted Bolt Eleki out of play. And now that scoop up net that was in his hand is going to the bottom of the deck.
Oh, that is crucial here. Bottom of the deck off of that Marnie. Regan gonna have a fresh 5 cards here. That is absolutely crucial, Chip.
And Rahul does have the Boss's orders in his hand. With the V-Star being evolved, though, I don't actually even know if Rahul has the choice belt left. There are 2 in play. I think he does only play the 3. I don't see the other one in the discard pile, though. This is getting right down to the wire, Shelby. Exactly what we would expect from a match like this.
No, it is definitely down to the wire here. I am so happy we got such an exciting top 4 match for you all, but I am on the edge of my seat right now, Chip.
It's really going to be close, and I have to wonder, should Rahul have used Scoop Up Net last turn, picked up this Regieleki, gotten it out of play? It does keep him a little farther away from using Ancient Wisdom, but if your win condition is using the other Regieleki, that might have been what he needed to do.
Well, we're going to see how this plays out. Regan Retzloff going down to only 1 prize card left here. We're on Rahul's turn. This is where we're going to see how he's able to respond and how the conclusion of this game is going to go, Chip.
Rahul can thin this hand down a lot. He's got Energy Lotto, he's got Ultra Ball, he's got Quick Ball, he's got a Pokemon he can put in play, and energy he can attach. I think we're going to be seeing the Dragon's Horde. Rahul probably needs to go all in on this turn.
Yeah.
We'll see if he has the cards available. There is that Scoop Up Net, so close, yet so far. He cannot grab it just yet. Question for me now, though, Shelby, is there the choice belt? That is the last remaining piece of the puzzle. If Rahul has that piece, he can dig for it to try to close it out. Let's see if he can find it. Let's see if he can find the line and figure out what the most optimal path is to go for this.
Yeah, I think just mentally putting the pieces together in his head right now. Of course, sequencing is so important, especially for the Reggie deck, so making sure all of the sequencing is absolutely perfect because there's so much on the line.
I do want to say, I think we're seeing a little bit of an issue here just because there is only 1 Scoop Up Net left, right? So Rahul doesn't have a way to Scoop Up Net both Reggie Drago and the Reggie Eleki. Are we now in a situation where Rahul's best play is to knock out this Archeops and hope that Regan doesn't have the energy?
That is definitely a risky place to be, but that might be what it comes down to here, Chip.
I mean, that might be it, because Rahul has the attack lined up. He can Giant Fangs. He can take the KO on the Archeops. And if Regan does not have the last energy, he won't be able to attack. He won't be able to win the game. Rahul has Boss's orders in hand to close it out on the next turn.
Oh my God.
I think it's going to come down to this. Does Regan have that energy card? He's coming down to it. It's going to be so close
Yeah, this
here.
is seriously so close. I am not lying when I say I'm on the edge of my seat here. We have to... Oh, here we go, Chip. Let's see what can happen on this turn
and the
for
draw
Regan.
for turn, the powerful energy. He
There we
prepped it
go.
with the Orangaroo, knew that he would have that option to close out the game. And Rahul Reddy comes up just 1 turn short, and it will be Regan Retzloff facing off versus Azul GG in the finals.
This is absolutely incredible here, Chip. Both of these players coming into this event as testing partners, facing off with each other in top 4, but Regan Retzloff is going to be one of our finalists here at our OCIC, and that is so exciting. Look at this big hug.
Mixed feelings undoubtedly for Rahul. He wanted this so bad, but maybe more importantly to him, seeing his friend, seeing his testing partner, his little buddy, making it into the finals. I know he's pumped for him.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to think they have been playing together, learning together for years and years. Look at that, the whole group out there, the testing group, so proud of both of these players. Absolutely incredible. They're so wholesome, so cute. This is what happens. This is those moments that we absolutely